Hi, and welcome to Ed Talk. This is the show that looks into people and topics that impact our local schools. I'm your host, Scott Lay, Nevada County Superintendent of Schools. Today I'm excited. My guest today is Duane Triplett. Duane is the recently hired Superintendent Principal of Clear Creek School, one of our smaller schools in the county, but a long-time Nevada County resident and been to many places. So, Duane, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Glad you're here. Glad we get to know and learn a little bit more about you and Clear Creek School.
Absolutely.
So, just kind of a quick background and introduce yourself. You know, your short elevator speech on who you are.
Well, my name is Duane Triplett, as you already know, and I've been doing education for 32 years now. Started with Nevada Joint Union High School District as actually a football coach, and then a teacher and an administrator there. And then I've gone and done private education as well as continuation high school, and fell in love with being an elementary principal. And I'm excited now to join the team at Clear Creek Elementary School District as their superintendent principal. It's been a real joy the beginning of this school year.
All right. So I want to ask, you said 32 years ago at Nevada Union, football coach, and I think you and I ran across each other about then. I think out at Clear Creek one day.
Yeah, I subbed for you.
You subbed for me when I was out at Clear Creek as a teacher.
As a teacher, yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of funny. It all comes around,
Yep,
full
it does.
circle there. Yeah, but you were up here, then you went down, I think, to Crossroads Christian.
Yep.
For a while there, and then down to Placer County.
Placer County, and then I was part of a educational team that worked for a California Indian tribe. I did some work, not with a school, but just higher ed stuff for them. And then I was missing kids, to be honest. And so that's when I moved to Marysville Joint for the last 7 years, and then made my way here.
But I think when people think of Marysville Joint, you're thinking of Marysville, Yuba City, that area.
Yeah.
That's not where you were.
No, I was up in the mountains. So I had two small elementary schools, one right above Collins Lake and another one up by Sly Creek Reservoir up in Challenge. And so they were very remote. One school had about 130 kids, the other school had about 40. And so they were two very small schools up in the mountains, and really enjoyed it.
All right, and great background and a place to learn to move into your superintendent principal at Clear Creek School. With your experience from high school to private to working with tribes up into two smaller schools. So great background with that. So let's tell our viewers a little bit about Clear Creek. So number of students Clear Creek has this year?
So Clear Creek this year is sitting at 165 students K-8, or I should say TK through 8. It's a great little spot on McCourtney Road down past the dump. It's a really nice family atmosphere with the staff as well as the students, and then the families are just highly involved. We have a very active PTC. We have parents that are on campus every day. We have athletics going on right now. In fact, when I'm done with this, I'm going to a girls' basketball game, which is fun. Yeah. We have PE going on as well for our kids, and it's just really a great environment. One of the things that we're starting this year, which is really kind of exciting, is we got a grant to build a new, larger garden area. So that's in the process of design. We received a grant for that, and so we're excited to bring that in. And then I got a proposal from two of our 7th graders last week wanting to bring chickens in as well. So we're gonna have Cougar Coop.
All right.
And so that's pretty exciting.
Cougar Coop,
well.
I like that.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
That's great. Now, you still have combo classes in a few grades, I would imagine, or is it straight grades for everybody?
It's straight grades. Straight grades, everybody. The only combo is TK and kindergarten are together because we have 4 TK students at this time.
But I know the staff at a small school like that, and having been at Clear Creek for many years, they've got to be thinking on their feet. They've got to be able to adapt, because you don't know if next year a couple grades lower, you might have to go to a combination.
Yeah, it's one of the fun parts of small schools is the fluctuation of attendance and students. And so, yeah, you do. You have to be ready to pivot. And that's what makes, I think, small school staff so unique is they like that. They like having many hats. They like being involved in other things rather than just the classroom. They want to help with other projects and other, like athletics and clubs and things like that. So I think people are drawn to small schools. I know for me, when I was at Nevada Union, it was 2,800 kids.
That's in now the district is over 2,800.
Right.
You were there doing
I was there when
days.
it was huge, and I didn't like it. I love the fact that at the small school, like even already, I know probably 75% of the kids' names, and you know them by name, you know their parents' names, and it just makes it really, really enjoyable to be at work, and you feel part of that community. And I think the kids really respond to that close-knit community that small schools provide.
And I know kids when they go to schools like that, like Clear Creek, they're big fish in a little pond when they get to the upper grades, and you can play all the sports, and you can be part of all the clubs, and you can be on the student body if you want.
Yeah, it's great.
You have, there's so many choices, and they get to really find out what do they like.
Right, and what are they really gifted in? Too, because they get to experience it all. So I think small schools are just a sweet little gem that I think a lot of folks don't realize how great they are.
I do too. I definitely do. Now with the your upper grades, usually we consider that 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Do you do self-contained classes, or are they moving around, to specialists for math or science or the like?
Yeah, we stay in self-contained classrooms. I think one of the things that is important when you're a small school is to know who you are and what you can do. And so we just stay self-contained. And I think there's a real rich environment in that. Now, the staff will do electives and things like that, and there are times when they will shift that around. If someone has a particular gifting on staff within the 6th, 7th, 8th grade, they may shift some kids around to give them that experience. But generally, we just stay self-contained. I mean, really what we've found is that our families prefer that. That's why they're there. And we can't compete with the larger junior highs that, have 500, 600, 800 kids and can shift around and have wood shop. We can't provide that. So we just want to be really good at what we do and care for our kids in a way that gets them ready to move on to high school.
There's kids who are, Clear Creek is where they need to be, and others when they get up in the middle grades, they need to be at a Magnolia or a Lyman Gilmore or Seven Hills. That's that's what suits them best.
Yeah, and they need that larger environment. That's great.
Well, it's great. I just love the opportunity the students have to I really like that big fish in a little pond. Do everything they want with that. Looking at Clear Creek, here you are. You're up at Dobbins and Challenge, and you've got a, from what I understand, pretty set. You got it pretty dialed in. You've been there 7 years. I remember checking, and I think you were one of the only schools during COVID that was increasing in academics as well as no issues.
Right.
I mean, and so what drew you then to leave that? Something you'd built and were very, very good at, and take a chance and say, you know what, I think it's time I want to jump up to the superintendent principal role and go to Clear Creek.
Yeah, it was interesting because I wasn't looking. I had 2 great staffs. Loved the kids up there. We were rolling along and doing great things. In fact, we got the California Distinguished School Award during COVID for the work that my staff did with our kids.
Which I'll tell our audience that's highly impressive during COVID with everything else schools were facing to get that award during that time.
Yeah, the staff was impressive up there. They went above and beyond what they needed to do to make sure our kids had the least amount of learning loss during that time. I think what attracted me was the opportunity to come in and learn a new role, as well as in a place that was solid already. Right. And I think that's kind of your best case scenario, trying to branch into a superintendent type role. You want to find yourself a good spot where you can learn and grow in that, and then make an impact. And so what I saw at Clear Creek when I did my research was I felt like it really fit who I am as an educator and as a person. It felt like a community that I would enjoy being part of. And it just kind of I don't know how else to say it. When I started doing my research, it just resonated with me, and I was thrilled to be picked. And I'll be honest with you, it was hard to leave where I was. It was a difficult conversation with staff to let them know.
When you got the nod that yes, you were picked, and now you've got to.
Yeah, it was, but yet at the same time, I just knew this was a really great fit, and it has been. It has been a really exciting transition for me, and I'm grateful for the opportunity and grateful for just the atmosphere that was already created there by my predecessor. The kids have just been really, really fun. Yeah. It's been really, really good. But it was hard to leave, and because I was, to be honest, I didn't know that I would leave. That was going really well. But like I said, when I found out about this, it just resonated, and so I'm thankful that the board, it resonated with them that I was the right guy.
The right pick, yeah. And Clear Creek also, for audience, they have an outstanding board.
Yeah, they do.
They are just have been for years, just right on point, and they do. As a county superintendent, I get to watch that, and that board's always watching what's best for kids.
Yeah.
And staff, and that they're always there. So a good board to work for.
Yeah, and I think that was the key. When I did my research, the board was solid and kid-centered, which is really important to me. And then looking at the staff, very solid, very kid-centered, fit my style of what I think is important for kids, and that we need to do what's best for them, regardless of what that means to us.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, when I did the research and then when I started to meet people, it was really true. And so it's been a really neat transition.
It's a good fit.
Yeah, it's a good fit.
A lot of people don't know, the difference between a superintendent and a principal, because they are different roles. In a lot of bigger districts, you have one, principal, and you have a superintendent. But, there's a couple of our three little districts, Chicago Park, Clear Creek, and Twin Ridges. They have a combination of a superintendent principal. So what did you find coming in that's different? What the superintendent role that you were now added to your responsibilities?
So I think I had a leg up because I'm used to having two schools, so I had two of everything. But I think the thing that I'm learning more about is the funding for schools. As a principal, particularly in a large district like Marysville Joint, we didn't have a complete grasp of the entire budgetary process. We knew about LCAP and all the funding procedures, but I think that's been really good to learn. I've been excited about that. And I think for me, the exciting part is to have the opportunity to really lead and change and move culture for a whole district. Even though it's a one school district, it's still that process of doing that. And so I'm still learning. I mean, I think there's still things I don't know yet about the superintendent job, but I'm finding that it's going okay. Like I said, I'm used to kind of two different things I'm pulled between.
Right, so the multitasking piece, easy, you got that down.
So it's okay, and I think it was the right time in my career to kind of learn something new, which is always exciting. I mean, I think we talk about in education about being lifelong learners, and we've got to model that, and so staying up on legislation and all the different things that are coming at us in schools, and trying to plan and lead not only a staff and families and students, but also help lead a board to make important decisions and the right decisions that will benefit student achievement. Because that's got to be our focus. Every decision we make needs to be around how is this going to better our student achievement.
Yeah, very good point. As a veteran principal and a new superintendent, what do you see the biggest challenges facing education? And then I'm going to ask you kind of specifically how that translates to Clear Creek. But what are you seeing right now and out there that you're like, that could be a concern or a challenge?
I think attendance has become a real challenge. The student attendance has diminished really in the last 5 years, but specifically really after COVID. We're starting to see a lot of kids that would be considered chronically truant. So when you look at education code, 3 days can lead you in, missing 3 days can lead you into being chronically truant. But then, you have so many kids that are 10 days and more. And so even at Clear Creek, even though there's a lot of support for education and they want their kids there, we still struggle. We're still at like 23% chronically absent. And so that's something that we're trying to work with, but it makes it difficult because what I've found over the years is it's not kids that don't want to be at school. Yeah. It's other things that get in the way. And there's so many, I can't go and pinpoint one thing, but it's one of the areas that we need to be cognizant of is how do we make sure kids are there, 96, 98% of the time, because if they're not there, then they're not going to get the content they need to be successful. And so that's one of the things that's kind of changing. We're not seeing behaviors at Clear Creek, but I know in a lot of the other elementary schools they're dealing with a lot of behavior that is not normal at the elementary level, and that's impacting student achievement across the board. And then there's just a lot of legislation that you sometimes scratch your head and wonder if they've ever been in a classroom.
Yeah, my guess is no.
No, they have not. And so you're looking at these things and like, how am I going to implement that? And how is that going to work and be practical? And it's law, so you have to figure out how to do it because we've got to follow it. But it's just like, I'm not sure practically how that's going to fit into our day and how we're going to do it. So those are just kind of three of the things that right now seem to be kind of a difficult part in education.
Yeah, I would think, at Clear Creek, at California-wise, we're definitely seeing that. I know attendance and behavior since COVID.
Right.
They're heading in the wrong direction, and no one's quite sure why. We all have our theories on why, but nothing's been tested. But something in our parents and audience may not know, when students don't attend school, whether it's a valid reason or an invalid reason, the school doesn't get funded for that day.
Right.
Excuse me. So that is a financial hit to a district.
Correct.
And that's tough. You don't turn 1/22 of the lights off. You don't teach 1/22 less. So that is a big issue. And then I think, unfortunately, the laws, that come our way, that's kind of been going on for years. I think it's best intentions.
Absolutely.
But it's good to go down to Sacramento and kind of remind them, like, really, did you really think this one all the way through? And oftentimes we'll get rules for urban schools because the higher percent of students come from urban schools, even though over half our school districts in California are smaller.
Right.
But they don't get it, that it is different in a rural area. And a lot of those things you're saying, they're very difficult to implement. Electric buses, for one reason. I'm thinking, you don't have buses, but that's very difficult to run them in mountains. The charging time just drops dramatically, and we don't have enough charging stations. So things, best intentions. I give our legislators credit for that, but asking us would be a good idea.
Yeah, it would be good.
Do that. So opportunities. What do you see? Like, what are you looking to want to do at Clear Creek? What do you see some things that you're thinking, all right, this is kind of...
I think one of the things, coming out of COVID, we knew there would be some drop in academics. And so we see that. We're seeing that even at Clear Creek, which has high academics. And so we're already in the process of moving into a school-wide intervention program to try to shore up all of our students with the area of math right now. That's what our focus is, because we see that as our greatest need right now. And so the staff and I are working on that together, and we're going to launch that probably the first of the year. And it'll be multifaceted. It's going to be a half-hour block during the day, every day, that we go to school-wide intervention, and kids will go to the area that they need. And then we're going to bring in an online curriculum program that will level all students and let them work at their own pace, and they'll be doing that daily as well, just to kind of shore it up. We're still above the state level and the county level for our test scores. We're still scoring well, but it's not the level that the staff was okay with. It wasn't even me coming in. The staff was concerned about it, and so is the board. And so we really want to make sure that our kids academically are as solid as possible, because when you leave a small school and you go to a high school that's larger, Bear River is 3 times the size of Clear Creek. we want their academics to be the least of their concern while they transition there. So we want to shore that up. So that's a big one. I think, everywhere I've gone, I've brought gardens in and orchards. Did that back at a continuation high school, did that in the Marysville Joint Unified as well. And so PTC was into this before I got there, but I was on board. So we're putting in a garden. It'll be 12 beds.
Right.
And it's going to be great. We've been working with Sierra Harvest. And they're going to help us with some trees down the road if they get some. And we're going to start putting those in so that the kids will have apples and pears and
fruit-bearing trees.
Yeah,
Nice.
so it's really going to be fun. There's lots of land to do that there. And so it's just in a great growing environment, and the staff's excited about it. The kids are really excited about it. And then adding those chickens is going to be really cool. And then for me personally, just coming back to having athletics. Athletics were so big as far as my life as a student. And then, I coached for 11 seasons at Nevada Union. And so coming back to having a school that has athletics, it's just been really fun to watch the kids. We got new uniforms for them this year, and they look great. And it's just been really good. So the push right now is to hopefully bring up those academic standards after COVID, trying to reintegrate people coming back to being on campus and getting back to normalcy. And then down the road, as time goes, I need to learn a little bit more of the culture of Clear Creek, because I've only been there now 5 months, and so we want to add some things down the road that will bring families together on campus doing activities together. But that I need to learn a little bit more of what they already do.
Yeah, what they do and what you need to do.
Yeah.
Well, those are great goals and things. Like the intervention plan and the garden plan, it is a perfect location to do that. And chickens. I mean, who doesn't want chickens?
Right.
Yeah, that's just the key. So, Duane, anything else?
No, I'm just excited to be at Clear Creek. It's just been a fun time for me. It's reinvigorated me, and the kids have just been delightful, and the families have been great. So I'm looking forward to the years to come being there.
That's great. Great. Well, thanks for leaving school a few minutes early. I know you didn't leave too early. You wanted to stay at the end and racing up here, but I appreciate that. And enjoy having you in the county. So that's great.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been great.
Thanks. And thanks to our audience. You've been listening to Ed Talk. Take care.